I'll divorce a broke loser like you." With those words, Dylan, my husband, walked out, leaving behind divorce forms. I stared blankly at the forms on the hospital bed. I had suspected it for a while, but I couldn't believe he was actually cheating. And not only that, he got his affair partner pregnant. Now, he's abandoning me, who can't work while hospitalized. Mom. Startled by my precious son's voice, I looked up to see Leo and my dad standing there. My dad frowned as he saw what I was holding. "What are you going to do?" "It's obvious." Pushing myself to leave the hospital earlier than planned, I headed to the bank where Dylan worked. My dad dropped me off at the bank, saying, "Do your best," and went somewhere. As I stepped into the bank, I saw Dylan, who frowned upon noticing me. Fortunately, there were no other customers around Dylan. I approached him directly. "I'm closing my company's account." "Huh. I'll take revenge on him." While Dylan paled, I smiled smugly. "I'm Eli Watson. I'm a 32-year-old company executive. I have a 7-year-old son, Leo, and my husband, Dylan. We met during a university friends mixer. At that time, we weren't particularly interested in each other." "Hey, aren't you Turner from the mixer?" "Yo, Watson." The following year, we coincidentally met again when I used a bank where he worked. That led us to keep in touch frequently, eventually leading to dating. Then, I got pregnant with Leo, and we got married. Dylan is famous for his serious and polite work. Our friends praised him. I also thought it was great to marry him. "Mom, why is this like this?" "Wait a moment. I don't know the details either, so I'll check now." "Okay." Leo is curious and studious, much like Dylan. He asks what's this, and why, every day, so I'm also in a study mode. Surprisingly, Leo admires not Dylan but my dad. My mom passed away due to illness, and my dad raised me single-handedly while working busy jobs. "Sorry, I still don't like your dad." "Well, there's nothing we can do about it, but don't tell him. He's quite sensitive about it." "I won't say anything." My dad is kind, but he looks rough and quite intimidating. Dylan doesn't get along well with my dad. Although my dad is considerate, he tries not to interfere excessively. So, we had a peaceful life at first, smooth sailing. However, it changed as soon as we got married. "Hey, where did you put my phone?" "I have no idea." "Didn't you charge it yesterday?" Dylan asks grumpily early in the morning. Indeed, Dylan's phone was still plugged into the charger from the night before. I get more irritated by his lack of apology or gratitude, and he makes a clicking noise with his tongue. Dylan changed after marriage. He complains constantly, for one thing or another. "I'm an elite bank employee. You're leading a comfortable life because of me." He says such things. However, Dylan doesn't contribute financially to the household. Despite spending his salary alone, he seems to think he's supporting the household. In reality, I support our household finances. I pay all the utilities and food expenses. "Hey, what's this new clothing?" "It's Leo's clothes. He's outgrown his old ones." "Don't splurge with my money. I'm paying for it from my salary." Yet, he complains immediately when we dine out on weekends with Leo or buy new clothes. No matter how trivial, he seems to be displeased with us being extravagant. On the other hand, my dad is someone who doesn't hesitate to spend money for us. This apartment must be cramped, right? So, I bought a condo Dylan wanted to live in. I live in the same condo complex, so you can rely on me. He bought us a condo with a smile, and gifted us the top floor. And he lives on a different floor in the same condo complex to be there for us when needed. "Mom, can I go to Grandpa's place?" "Sure, but don't stay there too late. Come back before it gets dark." "Okay." It's natural for Leo to be attached to his grandfather rather than Dylan. Leo visits my dad's place whenever he has time. "Where's Leo?" "He's with my dad." "Okay." By the way, Dylan never complains to my dad. And he seems to avoid mentioning my dad to Leo so as not to cause trouble. He's only assertive with me. Certainly, I keep quiet so as not to cause any trouble for my dad. Well, I'll just ignore it if he's just going to complain. That's how lightly I took it. Because of that, he's not involved in parenting at all. Noah called me, so I'll be out for a bit. Again. Noah West is Dylan's childhood friend. I don't really like her. Dylan and I are like siblings, so don't get the wrong idea. She says that every time we meet. Despite that, she takes the high ground by saying, Dylan used to, acting like she knows Dylan better than me, which is annoying. Such a trouble, even my Mill adores Noah. Why did Dylan choose Eli instead of Noah? He should have married Noah. Whenever I'm called to the in-laws, they make sure to say such things loud enough for me to hear. Despite being scolded by Phil each time, my Mill doesn't seem to care. Noah claims to be goofy. Because I'm goofy, I lean on Dylan. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, you know. It'd be okay if she were young. However, she's already 28 years old. She needs to act her age. By the way, Dylan and Noah weren't able to get married due to my Phil. I don't want to call her my DIL. If you insist, I'll divorce you. Noah isn't very nice. She doesn't have a job, but parties a lot. She asks Dylan to buy whatever she wants. My Phil dislikes Noah for her behavior and fiercely opposed their relationship. I couldn't understand why my Mill dotes on Noah. I'm sorry about my wife. You don't have to apologize. I don't understand why Dylan acts like this. He doesn't defend you when you're criticized and even gets along with Noah. As my Phil said, Dylan doesn't defend me no matter what my Mill says. Sometimes, he even laughs. Granny, why do you say that? If Mom didn't meet Dad, I wouldn't exist. Am I unwanted to Granny? No, of course not. Leo always defends me. Although he doesn't understand how children are born, he knows they need both parents. Since Grandma also dotes on Leo, such things aren't said in front of him. That's just like Dylan, so I realize that parent and child really do resemble each other. I'm drinking with Noah at night, so I'll be late. No, okay. I began to wonder if Dylan and I really need each other. I decided to prepare for divorce. Seeing me like that, Leo seemed to have sensed something. Let me know if there's anything I can help with, he said, showing concern for me. Just then, I was summoned by my Mill. I didn't want to go, but she kept calling incessantly, so I had no choice. My husband isn't here now, so there's no one to carry heavy stuff. Please buy a bag of potatoes for me. Apparently, my Phil was on a business trip. Frankly, I thought she could order online, but it was obvious that saying so would only cause trouble. I ended up carrying heavy stuff after work, feeling exhausted. While I was absent-mindedly heading towards the condo, my body was struck by a car. It seems that a car ran into me, ignoring the signal. The car that hit you fled the scene, and it's under investigation. I was told so while lying in the hospital bed. For now, I'll leave Leo with my dad and check into the hospital for a while. With a broken arm, I can't do much work as it is. But when I worried about that, my dad scolded me. First, take care of yourself. Leo, my dad, and Phil, who hurried back to see me, visited frequently, but Dylan and my Mill didn't visit at all. Well, that's within my expectations. Hi. When Dylan came to the hospital room, I was surprised. Fill them in. Saying so, Dylan handed me divorce forms. His name was already written. With that arm, you can't work. Now that you can't earn money, you're useless. What? Besides, Noah is pregnant with my child. Those words stopped my farts. Noah is pregnant with Dylan's child. I'm marrying Noah, so I'm divorcing you. Saying so, Dylan quickly turned his back on me, as if to say there's no more use for me. I'll divorce a broke loser like you. Saying that, Dylan left the divorce forms and walked out. I stared blankly at the divorce forms on the hospital bed. I had been suspicious for a while now, but I couldn't believe he was actually cheating. And not only that, he got his affair partner pregnant. Now, he's abandoning me, who can't work while hospitalized. Mommy. Startled by my dear son's voice, I looked up to see Leo and my dad standing there. My dad frowned when he saw what I was holding. What are you going to do? It's obvious. I answered my dad straight on. My dad nodded at me. I need to take revenge on him. Pushing it a bit, I discharged early and headed to the bank where Dylan was. My dad dropped me off at the bank, saying, "Do your best," and went somewhere. As I stepped into the bank, I saw Dylan, who frowned upon noticing me. Fortunately, there were no other customers around Dylan. I approached Dylan straight on. "I'm closing my company's account." Huh. Dylan's expression said, "What are you talking about?" Without taking a number, several people looked annoyed as I suddenly stood at the counter. "Oh, excuse me. Don't you know the company name? What are you?" "I'm Eli, who inherited the presidency from father the other day." "The company name is Turner Corporation." Huh. Jessiel Corporation is an IT company founded by my dad and currently employs 1,900 people. It's quite famous in the industry around here. So, Dylan was also surprised with wide eyes. "That's gotta be a lie, right? You're just trying to get back at me." "If you think so, why don't you check?" Dylan immediately started checking something as soon as I spoke. "My maiden name Jessiel is a rare family name. That's why my dad included his family name in the company name." While Dylan was checking, I looked around. Since I mentioned the company name, people around us were seeing us. Huh. Seriously? It seems like he confirmed it. Dylan looked up at me fearfully. Are you really from that Jessiel Corporation? Now, let's make him realize whose daughter he's dealing with." Contrary to Dylan's pale face, I smiled slyly. "So, hurry up and close the account. Please wait, it would be troublesome. By the way, my dad is pretty angry about this. He wants you to pack your stuff and leave the condo soon." Huh. Why do I have to leave? It seems he forgot that the condo was purchased in the name of my dad. Well, otherwise, he wouldn't bring Noah in during my hospitalization. "Did you forget that the condo was purchased by my father, the former CEO? You haven't contributed a single penny, let alone living expenses. You've been spending it all on Noah. Yet you have the audacity to ask for the condo to be handed over to you because Noah is pregnant. How dare you underestimate me?" I deliberately spoke loudly enough for others to hear. And of course, Dylan is panicking. He's known as a serious and honest. However, it was revealed that he's actually cheating with his childhood friend without contributing anything to the household. The gazes around us turned cold. "Is that true?" Huh. The one who spoke to me was the branch manager of this bank. Actually, he had been here for a while, listening to our conversation. "We need to hear more details from you. I apologize for the inconvenience caused by our bank employee." The branch manager apologized me. From there, I was led to the back, where the three of us, me, Dylan, and the branch manager, would talk. There, I explained the situation to the branch manager again. "I deeply apologize for the trouble we caused." The branch manager sighed deeply and apologized again. And right next to him, he forced Dylan, who looked dissatisfied, to apologize me. "I understand your feelings. It's natural not to want to entrust important money to a bank that employs such a person. If you're considering canceling the contract, I'll make arrangements for it. If you agree to just one condition, I'll reconsider the cancellation." At that word, both of them looked up expectantly. It's a good deal for the branch manager, but the worst condition for Dylan. "If you're willing to fire Dylan, I'd like to continue our contract with this bank." Huh. Of course, I was planning to fire him. It seems the branch manager had the same intention. And Dylan, who didn't seem to understand at first, gradually turned red in the face, and when he opened his mouth to say something, "Excuse me, there is someone named Mr. Jessiel. Another bank employee came to us. So I asked the branch manager to let him in, and Dylan, who had his nose cut off, closed his mouth dissatisfiedly. "Hey, why me?" Huh. "Mom. Sorry for the wait," my dad said, holding Mill's arm tightly as they entered. Seeing me, my Mill shot me a sharp glare, clearly displeased. "This is all you're doing. What's your intention? I won't forgive you for treating me like this." "Shut up," my dad's stern voice echoed through the bank. Not only my Mill, but even Dylan let out a short gasp and fell silent. "I know you've been harassing my daughter, making her do chores and carry heavy things. And instead of thanking her, you're telling her that Noah is better than her." And Dylan, instead of protecting her, laughed along. "Right." My dad's angry voice reverberated through the bank. Dylan, trying to intervene, was silenced by my dad's glare. "And you're the mastermind behind Noah hitting Eli, Rit. She's already been arrested by the police." "What? I can't believe Noah would do such a thing. Don't act surprised. You're probably the main culprit, my dad scolded harshly. Meanwhile, Dylan, seemingly unaware, said, "What?" and froze. "You both are despicable. Eli, let's go." Yes. With his urging, I headed outside. The branch manager apologized repeatedly as we left. Thinking I could continue the contract with him, I heard Dylan and my mill arguing loudly from behind. It seems like they're blaming each other. Their voices echoed outside, and bystanders and other bank employees whispered, "What we heard earlier must be true." Exactly as planned. Yay. It's great they reacted just as we expected. Our plan went smoothly, and we left the bank confidently, laughing. As a result, Dylan was fired. Thanks to thorough police investigation, Noah received a prison sentence. Mill was divorced by my Phil, and Cart for plotting with Noah to hit and run to get rid of me. She was also taken away by the police. Welcome back, Mom, Grandpa. We're back. Thanks for taking care of Leo. Huh, it's nothing. Seems like you've settled everything. After taking revenge on Dylan at the bank, I went to pick up Leo from my Phil. My Phil also helped in various ways this time. He had cooperated in finding evidence of my mill's manipulation and handed it over to the police. When I thanked my Phil, he smiled and said, "You did well." From then on, my days became busier than ever before. As the next CEO, I was already busy as an executive, but becoming the CEO meant taking on even more responsibility. Meanwhile, my dad started a new company. I've wanted to start a new company for a long time. He happily handed over the title to me, who chose to inherit the company to prove myself to Dylan. So, with both my dad and me being busy, Leo was taken care of by my Phil. Actually, my Phil's business trips were forced upon him due to my mill's affair with his boss. He retired early and moved into the vacant room in my condo. I'm trying to work remotely now. I'm planning to entrust him with work someday. He seems very capable, and I hope he'll excel in the new company. My dad and Phil, who have bonded over this incident, often visit each other's rooms, drink, and chat. On the other hand, Dylan returned to his empty childhood home. Unable to find a job anywhere due to the rumors spread by me and my dad, he resorts to paying off his debts. He now works tirelessly at part-time jobs, but we ignore his pleas for help. Once rumored to become a branch manager, he has fallen quite low. When I grow up, I want to be like Grandpa. This incident has made Leo admire my dad even more. He considers my dad a hero who saved him from Dylan and my mill. Will you be a CEO of my company someday? Yay. My dad is thrilled at the thought of Leo taking over his company. Determined not to lose to my dad, I decide to work even harder. After a while, both my work and my dad's work have settled down. Welcome home, Mom. Hi, Eli. Despite being exhausted, when we return home, my Phil has prepared dinner for us. I helped with dinner today. Did you? Good job, Leo. I'm looking forward to dinner. Praising Leo with a smile, I noted my dad coming home. Then, the four of us sit around the table, chatting and enjoying dinner together. In stark contrast, Dylan's life has fallen apart. Dylan accumulated more debts and ended up relying on loan sharks. Rumors say he was eventually put on a ship. His childhood home was sold to repay the debts, and my mill, left homeless, was reportedly seen under a bridge by an acquaintance. By the way, we received an apology letter from Noah's parents. They're good people, so I want you to read it. Yay, if you say so. According to Noah's parents' letter, she gave birth in prison. They took custody of the child and moved far away to prevent Noah from relying on them after her release. The letter also contained a deep apology to me. Noah's parents seem like very good people. I sincerely hope the child grows up to resemble their grandparents rather than their parents. It means Noah also lost her place to return to. In solitude, I want her to reconfirm the sins she has committed. Over a decade later, we no longer bear any ill feelings towards Dylan's presence. Leo once told me, "Did I even have a father?" He vaguely remembers it, but seems to have erased it from his mind as something irrelevant. We're the same, completely forgetting about Dylan's existence. I've decided to take over Grandpa's company. If that's what you've thought about and decided, go for it. Leo chose to take over my dad's company. The company he founded was a toy company. Starting as an ordinary employee there, Leo seems to be highly valued for coming up with ideas one after another. I guess it might be quick to leave the company to Leo. My dad laughed in such a manner. As for my dad, once he entrusts the company to Leo, he plans to live leisurely in the countryside. On my end, I've found a successor and am actively teaching him the business. When he's grown enough, I might as well retire early and embark on a new path. While thinking about such things, I'm doing my best to